September 1939. The world is on the brink of war. Nazi Germany invades Poland, and the full might of the Wehrmacht, a modern and terrifying military machine, pours across the border. Most of the world watched, expecting a swift and brutal conquest. But in a small corner of northeastern Poland, near the Narew River, a story of unbelievable courage was about to be written in blood and soil. This is the story of the Battle of Wisna, often called the Polish Thermopylae. It has a tale where just 720 Polish soldiers stood against a tide of over 40,000 German troops, determined to hold the line or die trying. The strategic situation for Poland was dire. The German invasion plan, Fall Weiss or Case White, was a textbook example of blitzkrieg lightning war. Two massive army groups were slicing through Poland. Army Group North, coming from East Prussia, and Army Group South from Germany and Slovakia, aimed to encircle and annihilate the Polish forces west of the Vistula River. The Polish High Command was desperately trying to organize a defense, falling back to create a new line along the major rivers. One of these critical defensive points was the area around the town of Wisna. Why was Wisna so important? It controlled key bridges over the Narew and Bebra rivers. Holding this position was essential to prevent the 19th Army Corps, commanded by the famous General Heinz Guderian, from outflanking the Polish forces and racing towards Warsaw from the north. If Wisna fell, a massive gap would open in the Polish defenses, spelling disaster for the entire northern front. The defense of this crucial sector was entrusted to a man whose name would become legendary, Captain Władysław Raginis. Captain Raginis was a dedicated and respected officer of the Border Protection Corps. When he was given command of the Wisna fortified area, he knew exactly what was at stake. His forces were meager. He had roughly 720 men under his command, a mix of regular soldiers, NCOs, and officers. Their equipment was limited: 6 pieces of 76 mm anti-tank artillery, about 42 machine guns, and only 2 anti-tank rifles. Against them, Guderian was bringing his entire the 19th Army Corps, which included the 3rd Panzer Division, the 10th Panzer Division, and the 20th Motorized Infantry Division. In total, over 42,000 men, 350 tanks, and hundreds of artillery pieces and aircraft. The odds were not just daunting. They were astronomical, more than 50 to 1. The Polish defenses at Wisna were a series of concrete bunkers built along a 9-kilometer stretch of hills overlooking the river valley. There were 16 bunkers in total, but by the time the Germans arrived, only 6 were heavy combat bunkers. The rest were lighter machine gun posts and observation points. They were well sited, offering clear fields of fire, but they were isolated islands of concrete in a sea of green fields, connected only by trenches and the sheer willpower of the men inside. On September 7th, the first German reconnaissance units reached the area. The battle began in earnest. German pioneers tried to cross the river, but were driven back by Polish machine gun fire. The defenders knew the main storm was coming. Captain Raginis, understanding the impossible task ahead, gathered his men. He made them swear an oath. They would hold their positions to the last man. He vowed that he would not leave his post alive. This wasn't a boast, it was a sacred promise. Every soldier there knew they were likely facing their final days. On September 8th, the German artillery began its thunderous bombardment. Shells rained down on the Polish bunkers, shaking the very earth. The Luftwaffe joined the assault, with dive bombers screaming down from the sky, dropping bombs on the small concrete fortifications. Yet the Poles held. Their artillery, though outgunned, managed to score hits on German columns, slowing their advance and causing confusion. The machine guns in the bunkers spat fire, cutting down any infantry that dared to approach. Guderian, growing impatient, personally came to oversee the attack. He was stunned by the ferocity of the resistance. He had expected to brush aside this small pocket of defenders in a matter of hours. Instead, his elite panzer divisions were being held up by a handful of determined soldiers. He ordered his tanks to advance across the bridges. This is where the Polish anti-tank guns came into play. From their concealed positions, they opened fire, knocking out several German tanks and forcing the armored columns to pull back. The Germans were forced to call for more air support and heavier artillery. By September 9th, the situation for the Poles was becoming critical. One by one, the bunkers were being isolated and destroyed. The German tactics were brutal and effective. They would surround a bunker, pound it with artillery and anti-aircraft guns at point-blank range, and then send in combat engineers with flamethrowers and explosive charges to finish the job. The fighting was close quarters, savage, and personal. Ammunition was running low, water was scarce. The wounded could not be evacuated. The communication lines between the bunkers were cut, leaving each small garrison to fight its own lonely battle. Captain Raginis commanded the defense from his command bunker, known as GG 126, on a hill called Gora Strikowa. He moved from post to post, encouraging his men, directing fire and sharing their fate. He was the heart and soul of the defense. As long as he was fighting, his men would fight too. But the German numbers were simply overwhelming. They swarmed the Polish positions, and the defenders fought for every inch of ground. Many bunkers fought until the last man was killed, or the structure itself was completely demolished. Finally, on the morning of September 10th, after 3 days of relentless combat, the battle reached its climax. Only a few bunkers were still holding out, including Captain Raginis's command post. The Germans brought up an ultimatum. Guderian sent a Polish-speaking officer with a white flag, demanding surrender. He threatened that if they refused, all the Polish prisoners of war they had already captured would be executed. This was the ultimate test for Captain Raginis. His personal oath was to fight to the death, but now the lives of his captured men were in his hands. He had held the line for 3 crucial days, delaying a German corps and buying precious time for other Polish units to withdraw. His mission was accomplished. Faced with this impossible choice, he made a decision that cemented his legend. He ordered his remaining men to surrender. He thanked them for their bravery and for fulfilling their duty to their homeland. But his own oath remained. After his men had laid down their arms and left the bunker, Captain Władysław Raginis stayed behind. True to his word that he would not leave his post alive, he pulled the pin on a grenade and pressed it to his chest. He died with his bunker, fulfilling his vow. The Battle of Wisna was over. The cost was immense. Nearly all of the 720 Polish defenders were killed or captured. But their sacrifice was not in vain. For 3 days they had pinned down a force more than 50 times their size. This incredible stand is why Wisna is called the Polish Thermopylae. Like King Leonidas and his 300 Spartans, Captain Raginis and his 720 soldiers faced impossible odds and chose to stand and fight, knowing the probable outcome. They didn't win the battle in the traditional sense, but they won a moral victory that is echoed through history. Their bravery inspired the Polish resistance and became a symbol of defiance against overwhelming force. Today, the ruins of the bunkers at Wisna still stand as silent monuments to the men who fought there. A plaque on Captain Raginis's command bunker reads simply, "Passerby, tell the fatherland that we fought to the end, fulfilling our duty." It is a powerful reminder that even in the darkest of times, the courage of a few can shine a light that is never extinguished. Their story is a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit in the face of tyranny. Thank you for watching. If you found this story of heroism inspiring, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more tales of history's unsung heroes. We'll see you next time.